So we got this going on the stream, guys. Appreciate you joining. So I'm going to start off here with the SPX, and then we're going to jump into the SPY. I won't spend a ton of time like I normally do, but I want to just kind of show you what I'm really looking at, guys, and what I'm following. So if you look at the SPX, you can almost draw a line somewhere around this area here, right? And this has been acting as just crazy resistance. So we have one touch, we have two touches, three touches, and it's almost coming up again, right? So what I want to see, guys, and this is why I'm going to be a little loose on trading today, unless it's longer term, because we're in a really pivotal spot. Because you have to look at this a few different ways. One, if we do reject here, let's say market open rejects and we start to pull down, right? That's going to break us below this SMA finally, right? Which is going to be bearish anyways, right? So when we fell below here, right, you can see we fell pretty good. Also, we have a double top on the 1 hour. Also, we have, the multiple touches, right? So it has that three peak touch. The other thing I wanted to point out, not only, if you look at kind of somewhat on the shorter time frame, but if you take this peak here, right, and notice how the RSI is just losing steam all the way down, right, losing steam, but yet we're hitting the same peaks, right? So we do have that bearish divergence showing up. So on top of the bearish pattern that is potential, we do have bearish divergence. Now, the way that I would say this is all invalidated is if we can flip this yellow line, get a nice break north, somewhere like, I don't know, 432 or so, right? 433 or 4320 on the SPX. Then I would want to see it retrace and hold as support. Then any kind of puts that you have here might be in trouble because we're looking for some pretty serious upside. Probably somewhere around like 4350. You have the Bollinger Band just way up here, right? So it could be pretty wild. On that would be your bullish scenario. So this is going to be that key area you're going to want to mark and watch on the SPX, which is you could just mark it almost at kind of 4,300 really, and watch that, because if this squeeze that's going to happen here with this SMA on the 1 hour pushes us north, then we want to see this hold as support. Doesn't mean if we push north that it's instant up, right? We could see a push up and then a pull back down. I still believe that we need to retest this 200 on the 1 hour, which would be about 42.50 or so. We still have not tested that. So there was also a trend line you can see here that we were following, worked really well as a resistance. We have not retested that for support either. So we could probably pull this out like that. I'm going to line it up with these two peaks because that kind of fits the EMA a little bit better. So that's kind of the retest. So if we do get that triple top break, I could see us pushing down in a fake kind of move, and then finding some support back up. If we break this level, the fall will be absolutely just insane. So that's kind of the levels I'd watch on the SPX. Again, keep an eye. You got your bearish divergence that is pretty apparent there. SPY, I won't touch too much on because it's kind of the same thing, guys. Look, a little more clear. Let's go to the 1 hour. You can see this is what it's forming because it doesn't have the after hours candles. We have an even more clear triple top going on. And so if we can flip this candle bearish when it opens and we open down like this, and we flip this SMA, then that's going to push us down again. Now there is kind of a trend line here that we would need to break. So in order for us to break this neckline, we would first have to come down, break this trend line, flip it, and then that would be the neckline break. We do also have bearish divergence on the 1 hour for the SPY. So the divergence is there. Remember, that's kind of a leading indicator. It's going to show you that there's weakness coming, right? Which is typically where the stronger this divergence is, the bigger that crash is going to come. So just be really aware. If I'm you guys on a Friday, I would not take a call. I would not take a call, even long term. It's just not worth it, because what I want to show you guys is if you go to the longer time frame, like the 1 hour like this, right? I want you to mark these peaks. So start it at Wednesday, November 30th at 3:30. And you're gonna see you have a peak here, and we have not touched it since, right? So it's likely we could even come up as high as here to touch it. Now, if you look, each time that we have touched this peak, it's been a dramatic pullback. This was about $20. This was just insane. I won't even do the math. This one almost instantly went about $13 pullback, and then you can see we ultimately pulled back just insane, right? So we are just creeping up on this line, guys. So if we do hit this line, if you hit that 435 anywhere in there, which is what kind of matching up to what we talked about in the SPX, man, that's going to just be an amazing put, because the divergence is there. So you can see that the divergence is playing out. So as we keep those tops, our indicator did already call a double top off of this one, and currently we're trying to triple top. So if Friday market opens and we push north, hit 431 and we reject, right, we still could see that break, depending where this divergence plays. But if we flip this 431, it's likely we're going to go all the way to the 435, and that 435 is going to be like a super rejection. So just play that range, guys. I'm going to talk about the Dixie briefly. So if you all remember on the Dixie, if we go to the 1 hour and we kind of zoom out, so we played this, rounded bottom, and then we kind of had our push up to this line. It did break. It couldn't hold it. We did find support here again. It pumped up. The jobless claims came out, and basically pulled the dollar back again. But it's still holding support. So if it breaks this support level and we fall down, right, it's likely if we break that support level, it's going to fall down to like 102, somewhere on this blue line, possibly as low as here, right, 102.38. If that happens, that will be kind of that steam that the stocks will need to push up to that 435 and such range that we were talking about. If the dollar, however, continues to find support like it did here, like it did here, like it did here, and like it did here, right, then it's going to eventually pop north. So that's kind of the range that I would look for. If you look at our gap fill, actually is calling bullish. I didn't even put that out. So on the 1 hour, our gap fill is calling bullish with about a 20% separation. For those who don't know our indicator, the gap fill indicator, that's what that is detecting, is that we are either overly bearish or overly bullish. Typically, when you're overly bearish, we have a push north. Whenever you're overly bullish, you have a push south, right? It kind of captures those oscillations, which is really sick. When this indicator spread gets about 20 to 30%, I mean, that reversal is coming, right? So could it go a little more? Sure, but it's saying, hey, just be ready, right? We do need a little bit of a push north. So that's kind of what that is, and it's usually really accurate. The VIX I'm not going to touch on, guys. It's like 13 something. I mean, we're so low in that VIX. It's landmine area. Could we go lower? Sure, but any moment that thing could just absolutely pop. If you look at tech stocks, Apple's still up. Pre-market actually looks like it's chasing that all-time high again. The Microsoft's down a little bit. Google's not really doing much, and Amazon's down a little bit. So Bitcoin. So on the Bitcoin 1 hour, guys, you can see we've been pretty accurate with that. We called the fall down here. We called that bounce off of there perfectly. And then I said, there'd be an over dramatic push up, a pullback, and then we'd range in the middle, which is pretty much what we've been doing. Just had a brief look with this. What I would be kind of cautious is we have a little bit of a rising channel after that fall, right? Which typically those end up breaking down. I would say if it cannot break this high here of 26.8, then we're likely to see a fall retest down to 26.1. The only caveat to that is I would say is we did break this red support line that we talked about, right? This is where it held some support pretty well to give it that steam to push. This is kind of a larger version of what I see here. You can see we had that fall, that rising channel, and then we had the fall, right? So this is a smaller version of that. So, I'd say 26.8 would be what to look for. If we pass that 26.8, then we're likely to come up into this range. It's not big, but if you wanted to watch like a quick rejection scalp like this, I would just take these two peaks like that. And this might be where we'd come up and hit our head first before it had to come back down to hit some support and then continue to make its way up this way. So um, as far as localized, I don't, I mean, the RSI is kind of following it. I don't really see much divergence of any way. Our harmonic tracker looks like it called a long back here on the 1 hour. Let's check. We typically trade the 2 minute, so let's see where we are in the more localized time frame. So actually, just recently called a short. You can see it had a long back here, which played out. It had a short back here, which played out, and now we're in a potential short. So, which looks like has not hit TP. So if that breakdown actually happens, that'll end up a pretty good call. So as far as my upper lower range on Bitcoin, guys, it still remains the same. My upper I would probably say for today would be 27.2, maybe 27.3. Again, we'd have to pass 26.8 to even have a chance at that, right? My low would be probably a retest of 25.8 or the potentially 26.130, somewhere in here. But I think if we do come down here, it's going to get a bounce somewhere here, which will create that higher low, and that will give us enough steam to explode north. So we can check the gap fill on this one. I do like the gap fill indicator. Let's see. You can see this arrow here we talked about, and look at it played out perfectly. Let's take that off. This is when we were calling the bottoms. So you can see on our gap fill, we do have a little bit of a gap to chase up here on 27.060 that it's going to have to get to eventually. This is kind of that 27.3 I was talking about we could push for. What I don't like on it though is, again, this rising channel. We do have a gap fill here around 26.475. We have a POC at 26.427. And there is a gap that needs to be filled down here at 25.8, 25.7, something like that. So that all kind of lines up with the other stuff. If you go to the 1 hour, follow this 200 EMA. If we stay below this, we're just going to fall again. If we flip above it, we're going to pump. Currently, we're actually long on this, but sitting at about 55.44. So it's, we've been more bearish than bullish. So the bulls, do have a little bit more steam to pick up. So we're kind of in a squeeze, and you can see that we're staying above the POC but below the 200. So that's going to be your range you want to watch. Our zone tracker is calling the low of around 25.7 to high of 27.1 if you wanted to play that range. The Ethereum, I'm going to just jump into the gap one so we can get time for the ATAs. So you can see we drew this one here. It did play out perfectly. It came up, didn't quite make it, came down. At the end of the day, Ethereum's doing pretty much the same thing Bitcoin's doing. The channel that it has rising is not quite as clear, but you can see the little mini rising channel here. It did break, right? It's starting kind of another mini rising channel, which could break. As far as gaps, I don't really see, because all these gaps, right, you can see the wicks, filled them. And there's really no gaps there. This gap was all filled. So Ethereum's kind of free range. There's really no gaps that it's calling. And you can see the balance, we're actually 51.48 on the bearish. So the bulls do have a little bit more catching up to do, but the bears could run with it. So I would play the range, guys, if you're going to trade today. The upper range for ETH is 1902, lower range is 1806. We're currently below this red line, which remember we talked about. It's kind of a goofy trend line. It'd be hard for you to find probably unless I show you the whole thing. But it's worked, so I've enjoyed it. We do have kind of a little bit of a different pattern on ETH because we have that fall, we have a pump, right? We have a higher low here with a pretty bullish wick. So if we do break this EMA, the 200 EMA in the 1 hour, not only will it be a break bullish, right, but you will flip a neckline of a possible double bottom. So that would be an explosion north to like 1902. So critical area, just watch this 1 hour. Currently on the 1 hour, our gap fill is purple on top, which if you all know because you trade that, that means that we are still bearish. We have not quite flipped bullish on that yet. So those are some things that you can kind of watch for. So I'm going to save that. For those of you new on TikTok or those of you guys new to YouTube, um, if you're on TikTok, guys, I'll get to your comments here shortly. We do the whole huddle and then I answer questions for you guys. But if you're new to this is the automated trading portion. We in our room we live trade options, which is typically the SPY, and then we automate our crypto. So this is the automation portion. So if you look here, this is my alerts. Kind of have a lot going on, so let's check into them. I don't think that much has changed, so it should be fairly quick, guys, because my plan is probably going to remain the same, but unless something has got out. So let's take a look at Aave. Yeah, see, Aave is still a little ways to go, but it's gaining steam. So if we do get that pop north, right, Aave will be fine. I'm actually gonna, because y'all remember, we're really close to getting this copy trade thing set up. So I'm gonna push Aave into an existing trade as well. For those who don't know, whenever I do an existing trade, you can see Aave's been in this for just a little bit. Whenever we set an existing trade, it means that once it finishes that trade, it will no longer trade. I'm slowly working my way out because once I switch over to the copy trade, I will be moving my ATA over to my Goliath account, so you guys can follow that. So if you're following along with Aave, all I'm going to do, once you're on Aave, you're going to come into here, you're going to find where's that long that it took. Then we're going to take one candle before. Remember, always one candle before. So we need to change our date to Tuesday, May 30th at 17:22. This is all you do, guys. Super simple. Come down here, and we're going to go May, I forgot it already, May 30th. So May 30th, and I think it was 17:22. And you can highlight over to, yeah. And then all you do is uncheck that one, you check that one. Really simple to do. If you did it right, this one right here will flip to teal. And there it is. When you get a close here, you basically told your ATA, hey, replace this short with an existing one. All the settings stay the same. So it won't change anything else. So if you were to zoom out, right, and you come back over, you're going to see all the DCAs are the same. They're the same place. It hasn't changed anything. So I had somebody ask me, well, why would you put it as an existing? The only reason why I put it as an existing is because I don't want to trade it anymore, but I don't want to close it, right, at a loss. So what I'm telling the ATA is, look, do what you need to do based on the settings that I gave you to get out. But once you get out, I don't want you to trade anymore, right? We're done. We're out of Aave, right? We're going to reset it. So it might be easier if I just right-click reset, right? So now we're set up where once we get up here, we're gonna basically close that trade. So now the question is, do we want to set a third DCA? So a third DCA on Aave, if I were to set this, I mean, you can kind of see we have our double bottom already forming, and we're at the neckline, so I probably don't even need it. If I'm gonna set a third, I don't want to be overly aggressive on it, guys. I'll probably put it like somewhere, let's look back. Let's see where we found support before. Yeah, see, although this looks like a great place to put it, we have gone as low as 51, and you don't want to be aggressive on your third one because that's kind of like your last stance. So let's put it at like 55. That way, it doesn't hurt to put it, right? If you put it lower, because it either it's going to trigger and it's going to be amazing, or it's not going to trigger and you don't care. That is the beauty of our technology. So I'm going to put like 10%. Let's see what that does. We want to put it around 55. Let me uncheck that because something, I think 10% is not enough, so I think it got out of the trade is why it all disappeared. Yeah, it got out of the trade. So we need more than 10%. So let's put like, I don't know, something drastic like 20, and we'll see where that goes. So we're basically looking to see where our next white line went. Okay, so we're all the way down here, like 53. So we don't need 53. I'm good with like 55. So let's put like maybe 17. Wherever this white line is, think of it like that's where you're telling the ATA, okay, do not do a third DCA unless it crosses this line, right? So 55.6, I'm okay with that. The beauty of setting this third one is I'm just done with Aave. I will not, either it's going to get out or I'll just leave it. I'm not going to touch it, right? I have my plan. So once you're done with your plan, all you have to do is set up the alerts. So ATA, Gambit, Aave, long, existing. I always do existing so I know which ones are trying to get out. Now we'll just wait a second to let that populate. There it goes. And we're done with Aave. So if you're following me, you know, if I went a little fast, please watch the recording. You guys can find that in the community events at BotJock here. So if you just come down here, go to community events. And this is literally going to be the huddle here that we're doing. All right. All right, so let's jump into ETH. There we go. Not expecting much from ETH long because, or maybe it was short. One of them we were still stuck in, but let's see. Maybe we weren't actually. I think ETH did get out. So we did have a close here. So ETH made about 10 bucks in 2 days. Not too crazy, but we're not stuck. And look, we're actually in profit currently right now because our entry is like right here. So our profit is there. So I'm not going to touch ETH. Y'all know who follow me. I typically always run ETH and LTC. Those will be the last two that I scale out of before we do the copy trade. So I'm going to keep this one going. We are in a long. We're pretty much in profit. If you were following or you wanted to start it, here's the settings I have: parabolic SARS, DCA1, and then just make sure you close your candle. That's it. Short looks like it's a little bit stuck. I think it was stuck yesterday too. Yeah. So it's really not bad though, guys. I mean, look at this. Our entry is like 1820. I'm gonna put a second DCA. Or actually, we did yesterday. Okay, cool. See the white line here? Yeah. Okay. So we're in good shape. See, I didn't think I really had to touch ETH. So either we're going to get out in profit or it's going to come up here and hit this second DCA. So, yeah, so we don't need to touch ETH. So if you're following along with me, I'm not touching ETH. That is my plan. LTC, let's see what that one's earned. That one was doing pretty good because I did get it out both ways the other day. I think it got stuck a little bit in a short. So let's see if the short got out. So long's been killing it, made 55 bucks in 2 days. I mean, look at this. LTC is such a beast. You guys know that we run LTC. I mean, this thing is like a money maker. It's like a little ATM machine for it. Something with LTC because it seems to stay out of the news, unlike a lot of the other stuff, right? It's like it floats under the radar. And so it causes a lot of this type of movement, and our ATA just absolutely capitalizes on that. I mean, look how many trades it did. 11 trades in 2 days. It only had a DCA 2 times, and both DCAs, look at this, perfectly at the peak, both of them, and got right out. So our long is just crushing it, guys. We're not going to touch it. I'm going to continue the long. The short looks like it touched our take profit yesterday and then bounced up, so that's sick. But we did get a DCA that we added in there, so we're in a similar position. This is the DCA if you missed it yesterday. We're in a similar position. Either it's going to come up here, and it's going to do that DCA, or we're going to fall down into here and we will take profit. So I'm not going to touch my ETH settings. We're going to let that just kind of roll on. Or I'm sorry, LTC. And so let's check our existing ones. Again, I don't know that anything is out because they had a little ways to go. Yeah, Matic's probably not out. So it's still got a little ways to go. We have Matic set up as an existing. If you did not catch that yesterday, here's my settings. You can pause to read and follow. So we're not touching Matic. I'm not doing a third. Well, did I do a third DCA? No. You know what? I don't want to keep watching these pairs. So let's do a third DCA, but we're going to do it somewhere pretty low, like down here, like around 70, maybe 71. So let's check that. Let's put like 15%. Let's see where that puts that. We're looking for that white line to pop up. Actually, looks like it popped up like up here, so we might need to go quite a bit more. Let's go 20. There we go. So that puts it about 72. I don't like it so close to this line. We either have to be above this line or I want it down a little bit further. So let's do like 22. Again, my third DCA is kind of like my end all. Like when that thing, I either don't care and let it sit there, or when it triggers, I want it moving that entry so far that it's going to be super impactful. So let's go 21, a little bit higher. Let's get kind of like in the middle, like around here. There we go, perfect. All right, so the beauty of this, guys, is either A, we're going to pump up and we're going to get out, or B, we're going to fall as low as 71, and we're going to move that entry from 85 probably down to about 78, 77, somewhere in this range. And that's why I'm doing that intentional. We want to get that entry somewhere back into this zone where it's actually visited a bunch of times, right? Otherwise, just let it sit there. You know, that's the beauty of the ATA. It's not like you have to worry about it or stare at your screen. Either it's going to go down and execute that DCA or it's not, right? So yeah, that's my Matic. So now we did add a third DCA, guys. So we do need to add the alert back. So let's go ahead and delete that alert. Remember, any change that you make, you always have to do your alert. Matic long exists. Make sure that loads first. I had one time I closed the thing too fast and it didn't load. There you go. You have to make sure that alert loads before you close the layout or it will mess it up. The last one we're covering today, and we have just enough time, is Solana. So Solana is similar to Matic. If you take the longs, we are running both long and short existing. So we did add another DCA, it looks like, on the long. Yeah, we already added a third. So it hasn't gotten down there. It has to get to about 17 before that will trigger. Let's reanalyze this and see. So 17. Yeah, I mean, we've gotten some pretty crazy support around 15, 16, so I think I'm okay with that still. It doesn't hurt to double check the TA. I would probably feel better if we moved it slightly down, because again, you don't want that to trigger too fast. Let's bump this up, like, let's see what 1% does. I'd like it a little bit lower. It's just a little bit too close for what I like. Let's go to 22. Because remember, wherever you place this line is going to be, when it does trigger, it's going to give you a far better entry. Yeah, I like that one better. So all we do, we just made that change, so we just delete the alert. You guys can see I'm doing literally, if you've been following me for a bit, it seems complicated at first, but it's really not. I'm literally doing the same thing. It's the same exact thing over and over and over. Once you understand it, I mean, the way you do it is just so simple. So we created that alert. Let's make sure that loads, but we're staying on this layout anyway, so let's take a look at the shorts. I was wondering, I'm like, man, why is this not trading? So we did do a Solana short existing. It does look like it did get out. So you can see what I mean by when it hits, it stops trading, right? So it did do a short right here. It did one DCA. It got out yesterday, it looks like, and it has not traded. So we can actually come over to our Solana short and we can just cancel that. So we are out of the Solana short. So if anybody's following, you should be out of your Solana short. So all we are running now is Aave long, ETH long short, LTC long short, Matic long, and Solana long. I have Aave, Matic, and Solana all in existing. So all I need is one nice pump up, and all three of those will get out, and then we will just be down to ETH and LTC. I'll probably scale ETH out first when I'm minimizing these out, and then we'll work on LTC. But we'll see. Depending if we fall, we're lower in the range, I may just stop the shorts, right, and then allow the longs to play out. So we'll assess that. probably Monday or Tuesday, depending how the weekend plays out. So this is my setup, guys. If you are on TikTok and you're like, man, I missed it, he went too fast, all you have to do is come into here, into the community events, and you can watch the recording inside here. So but that is all I got, guys. So it's 9 a.m. again. Just it's Friday, guys. Friday, usually ends up pretty rough. You can see the pre-market is up here. It's just testing that line. If we break this line, it's gonna explode north. If we don't break it and we end up with this triple top and this divergence, the fall is gonna be pretty nasty. So we may have a on the SPY like a wick up, right, where it's gonna trigger all the, because I guarantee you a ton of traders are setting in their puts here. But they're setting stop losses either right above this line or right above here. So there might be like a wick hunt where it triggers all those stop losses and then a fall, right? If we blow past this line, remember, just be really safe, because they're going to try to do what they do every Friday. There's usually a drastic move up and then a drastic move down, and then they go in the middle and they want to lock everybody for the weekend. So don't be aggressive on Fridays. At the end of the day, just don't trade it, right? If you're not sure. So. But if you're trading in the room, I will open the room today. I'll probably just be in there for a few hours. We can talk about it, see where the market is and stuff like that. But I probably won't be doing a ton of trading today. So, but we'll see. I'll see you guys in the room soon.